What's up? Fire with Dad in person.
Fire with Dad, baby.
So, what are we going to do now that Mom's not with you to cause disruption? She's not here.
I know, thank God.
Usually, you're going.
I got in trouble last week. She would talk to me for 2 hours because I told her that she shouldn't be talking so loud so everybody can hear her.
So, today's topic, you mentioned a topic a minute ago, which I don't think people could relate to because it was too freaking specific. But the context behind it is right. You mentioned your scorecard, that you work with businesses, that you help create a scorecard to monitor their activity. I do it with our sales team. What are your leading indicators? I want to put it in more of a basic terminology of a map. And that I remember when I was in college, my senior year, and when I got out of college, Christy and I going to Myrtle Beach and going to MapQuest.com. I wonder if MapQuest is still around. I don't know. Remember MapQuest?
I remember that, but I don't know if it's still there.
So going to MapQuest, pulling up directions, and because you didn't have the iPhones back then,
No.
GPSs weren't as prevalent as they are now because they're in everybody's hands. Which, by the way, what happened to the GPS companies too? I wonder if they're still around because you don't need a GPS in your car; you got your phone.
Well, they're all on all the boats.
Well, I know that, but I'm saying like little ones you have for your car. But anyways, so you didn't have GPSs, you didn't have your map or your phone map. So you printed off MapQuest. And you said, okay, I'm going to Myrtle Beach. I'm leaving Erlanger, Kentucky. I'm taking this road. I'm turning left here. I'm going 10 miles. I'm turning left here. I'm turning right. I think part of the problem is I heard a song yesterday. It's a Whitesnake song. It was on at the gym. And at the very beginning it said, I don't know where I'm going, but I sure know where I've been. Well, hello. I do have a microphone right here. I could pull the microphone out and sing for you. But the concept of it was when I heard that song, I said, I don't know where I'm going. And I laughed and said, I know where I'm going because I've mapped it out. I've got, and I know where I'm going to be in 3 years. I've got it printed off in an 8-page guide that tells where me and the company will be in 3 years. And I know the steps behind me. They're going to help me get there. What do you find? You coach a lot of businesses. I deal with a lot of restaurateurs. You deal with a lot of business owners all over the place. Why do they struggle with putting something on paper in 2 or 3 years and understanding what it takes to get there?
The thing is that they have a vision, but they never write it down. And that's the key. In other words, exactly. None of them ever sit. Give an example. In our retail store, when we first started, we had a whole sheet, must have been 20 pages, and it had all the numbers and how we were going to get there, what advertising we had to do, what numbers, sales guys, the whole 9 yards. And most businesses do not do that. And that was one of the first things I learned. And when I was in JC's, they had what they called the program guide. Okay. And every time you ran a project, and our chapter ran about 103 projects a year. Every time you ran a project, you had to do a chairman's guide. You had to go through like 8 steps. What do you want to achieve? Okay, what's your steps to getting there? And then you had a tracking thing. Okay, we did this, and our chapter, for instance, one of the biggest events we did every year was Oktoberfest. We ran Oktoberfest.
The Covington one.
The Covington
that was
one.
Huge. Mainstrasse.
And we would have about 100,000 people there for the weekend.
Oktoberfest is here again.
We had a manual. It was probably this thick, and we had in the JC's, we have a rule: you can only chair a project one time.
Okay.
So if you chaired that project and you did the chairman's planning guide, the guy that chaired the project next year needed to be able to look at that thing and say, okay, I guess how you run the project.
Yeah, this is how you got there.
We had to build a notebook about 300 pages thick. It told you where to order the stuff, how much you paid for it, how many things you needed, how much. We even had down to the point where on a keg of beer, how many glasses you were going to get out of a keg of beer and how much spillage you're going to get.
How many glasses did you get?
I don't remember now. It's a long time. Like 130.
What if I wanted to do an Oktoberfest on the property?
Well,
I'm screwed.
No, I call my buddy. I'm sure he still got it.
Do they still do Oktoberfest?
No, we don't know.
Okay.
Now once I got out of the JC's, the new guys coming in or the guys that took our place and kind of rolled over, they basically gave it to Mainstrasse.
Okay.
And so now it's all down on Mainstrasse during September, October.
So the conversation there goes back to the fact of having a map of where you're going.
Exactly.
when you leave, if now your phone tells you, unfortunately, a lot of us, like I don't even know certain people's phone numbers. Like I just hit, call dad, call grandpa, whoever. Here on my phone is grandpa because of the kids. But you got to have a map. And I think nowadays with so many things done for us, like my spelling's atrocious now because the computer does it for me. I don't know how to get to anywhere except in this area because even though I've driven to Chicago a million times and it's not too hard, every time I've driven Chicago, it's been with the GPS on my phone. People need to make a concerted effort to map out where you're going to go. If you're going to lose, 50 pounds over the next 24 months, if you're going to save $50,000 over the next 5 years, if you're going to retire in 15 years, what is it going to take to get there and work backwards? And business is no different. I talk about it with restaurants in that our map for restaurants is understanding where they want to get their sales to and say, okay, you're at $1.2 million now. You want to be at $1.4 million in 2 years. That's $200,000. Your average check is this much. Okay, how many visits does that equate to? Okay, it equates to 5,000 more visits a year. Okay, well, how many customers will get to that 5,000? And then knowing, hey, every time we spend $8.23, we get a frequent customer.
Well, I even break it out worse than that. You're going to say, okay, I need to have 5,000 more customers. Okay, where are they coming from? Okay, how many phone calls do I got to make? How many networking events do I need to go to? How much interaction do I need? How much do I need to put on Facebook or whatever? In other words, actually funnel it down to actually, exactly what you got to do all the time. And when I'm doing my score sheets with my clients, activity sheets, if they say, okay, fine, I want to increase my sales by 30% this year. My question is, okay, how many referrals do you need? How many sales calls you got to make? How many talk tos? And I got this from you when we had our retail store. How many talk tos do we got to have?
Yep.
In other words, do I got to do some networking? What groups do I belong to? How many groups do I belong to? How much interaction do I need to have? How many referral sources? How many referral partners? Yep. Okay, those things all need to be put into that plan because if I'm saying I'm going to grow my business 30% and I got to have 40 more sales a month and I only go to one networking event to meet 2 people, guess what? That ain't going to happen.
Yep.
So you actually got to funnel it down to exactly every single move that you're making is actually, as I would call, you actually know exactly what you're going to do every single minute of the time.
It's the same. We have the same thing. We have from a standpoint of how many people do we want to get from the website. Like one of our goals with most of our clients is if we can get 100 people a month to join the VIP program from your website, 100 from Facebook, 100 from Instagram, 100 from other online websites like Google My Business, Yelp, TripAdvisor. If we can get 100 people that walk in your restaurant to give their information, then we know we can put them in a path to succeed. So that's the topic. That's what we got until next week. Next week, I got to tell you something, we might be on the road, me and you. Though I'll let you know then. I can't tell you yet, so I hope you don't have any plans. But we might be doing this on the road next Thursday. So I'm off to ATL in a couple of days. I'll see you next week. See you next week.
Ching, baby.
That's a terrible ending. Like you hesitate.
Well, I couldn't figure out what ATL stood for. I guess it's Atlanta. I don't. All you young guys use all these symbols, and I'm going, okay. I mean, that's abbreviations. Actually, kind of humorous. In our TRN meeting this morning, our networking meeting this morning, one of the people got up and started going through all these symbols, and they're going to do video go K number 9 and a B4 and a 3, and I'm sitting there going, oh, that was a great 60 seconds. I have no clue what she's talking about.
Bingo?
I go, hey, bingo, baby. Cha-ching.
Well, cool.
We're out of here.
What do you think about Kramer?
I love it, baby.
Kramer didn't say a whole lot this time.
Well, I tell you what, I love the colors behind him actually accent him well.
Well, I've got this to hang above there. Remember this?
Oh, yeah.
Block you. There you go. The MJ. That's going to go on the wall right there. I just got to get a screw and a screwdriver.
and try to get into a stud rather than a drywall.
Let's shut up on that one. We're out. See you guys next week.
Cha-ching, baby. Fire with Dad, baby.
That's a good